Gemma, one small breath of the step before you disappear.
And then over to the side here.
The second row here, please.
Just move across a little bit. Straight away, that's perfect.
There are going to be some terrible action shots.
One more row here, please. Come on, sorry.
Thank you. Straight this way, sir.
Just do that gentleman first.
Just this way.
Gentleman, do that.
And then work your way back this way. And then to me.
One more look here, please.
One more this way, please.
Gemma, just looking straight ahead, thank you. Bring that arms down again. There you go. And looking straight to me.
Once more the end.
please.
And once more.
One more this way, Gemma. That's it.
I went a bit dragon, no?
Thank you. Thanks very much.
Thank you very much.
Cool.
Like me, babes, like me.
Is that okay? Yeah, perfect. I just wonder, what's the impact been of the show on your life? I mean, obviously, anybody who's been in Game of Thrones is going to have a lot of attention something up.
Well, I haven't really had a lot of attention, I suppose, but it's certainly been pivotal in terms of having it on my CV, and then the doors is opened for me in terms of the calibre of being put in a show like that. You considered to be perhaps good enough to be seen for something else that you wouldn't maybe have necessarily been seen for before. So yeah, right place, right time, and yeah.
Do you get fans stopping you on the street? Does that happen much?
Very rarely. I get sort of people whispering more than whispering and googling, like not quite sure. But hey, I'll take it.
Were you happy with your character's outcome?
Yeah, I was. I would have. I mean, there's never space just to do everything, is there? Like, I would have loved to kill Euron myself. Well, Yara would have loved to kill Euron, but yeah, I was really happy to. And I mean, it was right that she ended up on the Salt Throne and got what was rightfully hers, and did it with virtue and love for her family, which I think was very courageous and correct of her.
In real life, if you'd taken the Iron Throne, if you ruled the world, what would you pass as your first law?
As my first law.
Yeah.
That everyone smiles at each other when they make eye contact.
And they don't Google behind your
Yeah,
back.
yeah. I don't mind that. I'll take it. Hey.
And with winter coming,
It's already bloody here, isn't it?
yeah, festive traditions.
I know.
What do you get up to?
Festive
at
traditions.
Christmas?
We don't really have any. We've got a small child now, and she might just be aware that it's Christmas. So, someone's invited us to London Zoo on Christmas Eve and said that that's a tradition that they do. So, maybe we'll start that. I don't know.
See the penguins.
Yeah.
Great, thanks so much, Gemma.
Thank you very much. Cheers. I also didn't think I had a chance in hell of getting it because it's a big HBO drama. I was sort of doing smaller parts in comedy dramas, in comedies. So I sort of went into the audition thinking that.
Yeah, great. I guess the first question is, what did you kind of think when you first started out working on Game of Thrones? What was it like?
I was terrified. I think I was excited. I was really excited to get the job, and then when I got it, I was thinking, oh my God, what am I going to do? It's so enormous. And so I think it was just trying to get over that fear of the enormous and just buckling down and getting on with it. So, but yeah, it was pretty scary.
I'm sure you've been asked this many, many times. What was your favourite costume to design?
God, it's so difficult. I like, as a group, I liked doing, I guess I quite like doing the White Walkers. I also liked doing the Dothraki because I liked all the sort of, shapes. And then later on, I really loved doing Cersei's dresses and actors, and also Sansa's. I really enjoyed doing Sansa's enormously, and I felt closest to Sansa in my way. She was a girl I thought most like me.
And you watched it as a fan? Did you watch it at home when it was on TV, or did you?
I found it really hard to watch. I think I got really nervous, and I think when you work on things, I'm sure it's like actors as well, you hate seeing your own work. Sort of elements I got to like of it, but I was always like, no, I wish I'd done that, I wish I'd done that, and, wish I'd changed it a bit more. But I think you do sometimes have to watch it because you do learn from it, you do learn what the camera sees. And I think our biggest thing was like more breakdown, make it look more real. So I think that was what I really, really learned, yeah.
And just finally, what was your kind of favourite memory from your whole time working on the show?
My crew, working with the crew and working with all the craftspeople, and just like it became such a family, and it was almost like anything was possible. and it's just, you know, after 8 years you get that bond with people that takes so long to build, and I think we all grew as part of the show.
Brilliant. Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you so
All right,
much.
thanks very much. Just a couple of available.
You never know, I haven't watched the show very much, did you?
What did you think of it? Did you see it coming? Or
Select today.
well, I mean, I saw it coming because I read it, but no, I didn't. But I also feel very strongly that it was such a brilliant piece of storytelling. It was very circular, and it was also very brave to sort of finish in a whisper like that, wasn't it? It was very sort of gentle in a way, wasn't it? It was not quite the happy end.
Okay. So tell me, what does an weapons expert on a show like Game of Thrones do? There's a lot of swords, a lot of people hitting each other.
Yeah.
It's a pretty big job, I imagine.
It's a huge job. It's a huge job. I mean, my end of it obviously is to help them design, make, create for obviously HBO and Game of Thrones, and make sure that the weapons look well, elegant, safe, practical, and in keeping with what the show should be. So it's quite a big responsibility, wise.
And do you do the training as well, sort of how to handle it, how to move with the...
Yeah, a little bit on the archery. I mean, I look after the archery and all the big ballistas and the crossbows, the giant crossbows, the scorpions. Obviously, we have a great stunt team, through Rowley in that over the last few seasons, and they will look after the fight scenarios. But anything to do with archery or crossbows or that world, we'll always teach the actors. Or if it's a specific weapon that we've been created, then you try and show the stunts, how I feel it should work, and then they'll do it properly.
Okay. And in terms of mishaps, were there any mishaps on set?
No, probably lucky enough there wasn't. You know, it's one of the things where I know everybody, because you're worried about health and safety and everything else, but in fairness, not. There might be a little bit of cut hands here and there, but little bruises here and there, but no, we were very lucky all the way through it. But it's a lot of planning as well, and even though I say lucky, there was a hell of a lot of planning to do with safety and that kind of scenario. So, no, we deal with a lot of safety weaponry, safety rubbers, bamboo, so we're quite good.
And then would you watch the show back when it was on TV as well?
Yes, but as much as I love it, I'm always very critical, because I have to make sure that in my light I have to look after, make sure the weapons are shown in the proper light, that where somebody's being killed or stabbed, that the blood is on the blade further on. So it's a little bit sort of a busman's holiday for me, because it's a bit of like seen it last night, and then I'd bring the boys in or standby team in, drill them out if they need it, or praise them if they need that as well.
Just finally, what's your favourite weapon from the whole series?
Well, that's a good question. I mean, in fairness, there's so many, but I did enjoy making the last scorpion that was on the ship. So that last giant scorpion, it was able to change into 2 different weapons. That was a great make, huge and big. And
so that was full size?
Full size, that was totally practical. Every bit of that was practical. Yeah, there was no CG in that. The replication was, because obviously we only had one of, but for what it did and what it was supposed to do, it was totally practical.
Okay, that sounds pretty fun.
It was great, Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Lovely, thanks very much. Thanks for
having us. So tell us about your work on the show, what you did and how you got involved in the first place.
So we ran the prosthetics, prosthetic makeup and creature effects on Game of Thrones, and we joined midway through on season 4. So we did just over 5 years on the show, and each year it was sort of thrown in at the deep end with our first season when we joined, and it just got progressively bigger to the point where we were like season 6 or 7 saying, well, it can't possibly get any bigger than this, and lo and behold it got bigger
and bigger.
What was the most challenging project that you worked on the local show? Was there a particular thing that was
on Game of Thrones?
Yeah.
I think challenging. I mean, we've had really extensive makeups, which have been quite challenging. I mean, the Jorah grayscale on Ian Glenn was quite challenging. Sort of his the sort of disease that he had and sort of ran through for several seasons. It got progressively worse and worse each year, didn't it? And then characters like the Mountain with Hathor was quite an extensive makeup on the final season. And then we always say the Children of the Forest was quite a big gig for us. So we had several characters.
I think just in general, filming outside in a quarry in Belfast in winter and trying to keep morale up when you're doing 16-hour days or whatever, that's quite a challenge in itself, because you all start to go slightly mad and you're together as a team all day, every day, and we were in the same hotel and we're on the minibus together. So it's like just that in itself, with having a whole team of people being together all the time.
I think particularly on the final season, we were all
the
kind
night
of
shoots.
sunlight deprived, weren't we? We had
Yeah.
about 55 nights, didn't we? So, but it's just one big lovely family. Everybody's in it together.
Yeah.
So,
Thank you so much. Thanks for your time.
no
Enjoy your night. Thank
no
you.
worries, thank you.
One smaller go in.
Yeah. Hands up, please, Christopher.
What?
Hands up.
Just this way, please, Christopher. We'll soon start a good dance now, I'm just saying.
Great. So you joined when the show had already been going for a couple of seasons.
Yeah.
And already become a sensation. So
Yeah.
what's it like for you joining a show that's already that big?
I came in season 3 and had just watched two seasons, and they took me down to Ireland, Northern Ireland, and I met the cast. I was riding a horse. I was getting on these costumes. It was a surrealistic experience, because the fiction universe of this is so strong. So to like find out that Kit Harington was a real person, it was a blast.
Like you said, with the show you're doing loads of physical kind of work. You're riding horses, you're fighting. What was your favourite kind of physical thing to do when you were working on the show?
Well, I think it was when we did the Battle of the Bastards, because we shot it chronologically.
Yeah.
So we could follow the logic of the fight, and everything became. We started on a field that was green, and in the end of the shoot, and it was like a month shoot. It was just mud, and we were like about 1,000, people fighting and just living in that mud. So I think Battle of it's been many fantastic sequences, but that was a peak.
That's an amazing sequence. So
Yeah.
what's the impact of the show been on your life? I mean, you've got a big following online.
Yeah.
Do you get people stopping you in the street all the time?
Yeah. But I think that if I take the beard, I think I can escape more. But I went to Russia, and it was crazy there. So the show is big everywhere, and that's fantastic. I just have to take care of myself.
I thought you did shave your beard, and then people got upset when you shaved it.
Well, it was actually a fake shave, because it was a picture of me when I was in my 20s. But I'm getting there. I just have to choose the right moment.
Were you happy with the fate of your character on the show?
I was, but since Tormund started out as an antagonist, like the enemy of the realm, and he became an ally and joined Team Jon Snow, and in the end he fell in love and became kind of comic relief. So I think Tormund is one of the few people in this show who didn't want the throne, who was able to take a compromise and to do the best for mankind. So we can actually thank Tormund that people survived on this show.
And just finally, do you still see other cast members from the show? Are you friends with each other?
We had some fantastic years, but actors are everywhere, and I'm just hoping that I get a chance to work with many of them again. But events like this, we meet up, and you have Comic-Cons, and now you have the award season, so that we will meet. We have a bond.
Brilliant. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, man.
Have a good.
Just don't do this gentleman for sorry. Just one more.
Thank you.
definitely. I came in season 3 and people were already crazy, and I was crazy about it. So for me it was like being.
Hey, how you doing, Isaac? Sam from AP.
Nice to meet you.
Sorry, I'll just get into position. Is that okay? How you doing? You alright?
Yeah, very well. How are you? Yeah.
Cool. Great. So I guess you, in the first episode, and I don't think it's a spoiler too much, I think most people know what happens in the last episode.
Yeah.
What was your kind of experience starting out on the show and kind of growing up so much through?
I mean, it's quite a hard question to answer because I really don't know any different in a strange sort of way. It's quite hard to actually remember what life was like before Game of Thrones started. It's not like I was sort of 25, had worked as an actor and then got this great job. I walked into it when I was 10. So growing up on the Game of Thrones set to me in this kind of warped world has just been normality. but it has just been the most extraordinary 10 years, and to be honest, I still don't necessarily think it's sunk in yet just how incredible it was, because we only finished filming last year actually, and it only came out this year, so it's still a fairly fresh wound. I think it'll be in the next 3 or 4 years when it really starts to hurt.
Yeah. And what's the impact been like on your life, especially when it comes to kind of going out in public? I imagine you get people stopping you quite a lot.
Yeah, quite. I mean, actually, up until the last season, I kind of went fairly incognito, and then that has gone out the window now. But it doesn't bother me. Everyone who comes up is just genuinely passionate about the show, which is nice. It's quite special to just be sort of sitting on the underground, not thinking, and then someone comes up and tells you they really like what you do. It's like that's a pretty special thing to have happen. But yeah, I have a little cap. I need to buy a few. I only have 2 caps, and people have started working out which ones I wear. I was wearing his white cap today.
Fake moustache.
Yeah.
Like that, yeah. Without giving away too many spoilers, we know what happens with your character. If you, in real life, had become king of the world, what would you be like as a ruler?
Oh, I think I'd be pretty laid back. I'd like to think I would keep everything under control. Although I wouldn't like to inherit the mess that exists right now. I don't think anybody would want that.
And would you have gone for a drink with your character Bran? Say you kind of had an opportunity to do that.
That's a good question. I'd have to go for a drink with the Three-Eyed Raven just to see how weird it was. I'd be like, you could ask him anything really, and he'd have something interesting to say. But I'm not sure I'd want to go for many drinks with him. I think it'd probably be the one. And I'm not sure he'd be that interested in having a drink with a mere mortal anyway.
Brilliant, thank you so much, Isaac.
Thank you.
Good to speak to you. Thank you. Cheers.
What does he call you? Crown of Thorns?
Something like that, yeah, with dragons.
Yes, of course.
You are unique to the show, that you were there from the beginning, but also you've kind of grown up on this show and you've been in this bubble. Has that been a good experience for you in terms of as a young actor, that you're in something so big from the beginning?
Definitely. I mean, it's hard to say whether it's a good experience or a bad experience. It's the only experience I've had. So I hadn't read all that many scripts. I wasn't sort of going, oh yeah, I like Alexander Brand. I was just going, oh cool. I had an opportunity to do something quite cool with a character. I really grew to love Bran and find it so interesting. I think perhaps the most interesting thing was the fact that I got to more or less play an entirely new character midway through the same television series, which I don't think anyone